Let's now move on to 6 short 2-minute presentation on other types of partnerships. I'd like to start with Text to Change. And I'm sorry I will massacre your name probably, but Hajo van Bejma around? If you can just please come and take just a couple of minutes to introduce texttochange.com.
Thank you. My name is Hajo van Bijma in English and Hajo van Bijma in Dutch. Work with Text to Change. We do HIV/AIDS education via mobile telephones in Uganda. We send out multiple choice quizzes, incentive-based to location-based groups in certain districts in Uganda. Our example of public-private partnerships like the fashion word sounds is we work together with the Dutch Foreign Ministry of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Netherlands, the Ministry of Health in Uganda, and that's a good combination, with local partners on voluntary counseling and testing in Uganda, the AIDS Information Center. And we combine it with private companies like the American Merck Company Foundation, pharmaceutical, Zain, the mobile provider in Africa, MTN mobile provider in Africa. And we get pro bono support from PricewaterhouseCoopers on accountancy and Clifford Chance on legal support. Of course, partnerships are not everything. Communication within Uganda is sometimes easier than with big organizations in the developing countries. And like one partnerships always makes you eager, so we're still looking for new partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now call José María Sanz Magalón to introduce the Pro Niño project. Is José María around? No? All right. So we'll move to Crabgrass. Is Daniel Scott here? Daniel, please come on and tell us what Crabgrass is about. It's about an open source community, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ooh. Hey, my name is Daniel Scott. I'm with the Riseup Collective. We work on the development of the Crabgrass social organizing platform, which has been talked about a little bit here. Before I begin, I want to thank everyone for their good works and the many great presentations that have happened here. There's an obvious hunger and deep enthusiasm for the use of technology to solve social problems, and also a respect for the fact that technology won't solve all social problems. And there's been a distinct lack of hype that normally comes with Web 2.0 and tech conferences that has been apparent here and appreciated for me. So let's talk about Crabgrass a little bit. Crabgrass is a social organizing platform. It's a marriage of social networking software and groupware. The idea of Crabgrass grew out of the global justice movement of the late 1990s and early 2000s. The global justice movement was a movement for democracy and against corporate control. It was an egalitarian movement that advocated the decentralization of power and the self-determination of communities. These principles have influenced the form and function of Crabgrass. From the onset, Crabgrass focused on collective action. The primary unit in Crabgrass is the group, and by default, everyone in the group is given equal power. Amazingly, it wasn't until well over a year in development that an administrative layer was even added to the code. Development began with 2 simple goals. The first goal was to give groups a set of tools that allow for internal collaboration and organizing. The second goal was to facilitate the creation of networks of groups. I think one of the most compelling things about Crabgrass is the ability for autonomous groups to maintain privacy and security while being in a shared network environment with other groups and individuals. On top of that, groups in Crabgrass are able to associate themselves with multiple networks and move between networks organically while maintaining their formations. Enough about the software for now. I'd like to talk a little bit about how it is that UNICEF and Riseup came to work together. So it's a short story, hasn't been that long. About a year into development in 2007, Mikkel Marin, who is here today, discovered Crabgrass and began developing it for the UNDP. While in New York in fall, he presented this to the UNICEF Innovations Unit here. And to make a long story short, this resulted in Riseup and UNICEF working together to get crabgrass ready for youth at the StopX conference in Brazil against sexual exploitation of children and adolescents. This was a fantastic 3-month collaboration. Developers from Nairobi, Sao Paulo, Seattle, Santa Cruz, and New York City worked on and off the clock. As the deadline approached, the crew of German developers known as the Bridge Builders, who were already crabgrass developers, appeared out of the ether and helped complete the project. StopX Network was a hit, and our partnership with UNICEF is continuing into 2009. Furthermore, UNDP is still developing the platform, and UNIDO has recently joined the mix, installing crabgrass for use by West African youth to allow networking and collaboration to meet critical employment needs in countries where unemployment is the norm. I also heard a rumor that Web4Dev will be using crabgrass. But this is great, and I hope that works out. I'm looking forward to hearing feedback from folks here, and I hope to collaborate with some of you in the future. I'm really excited to see the crabgrass free software development community starting to bloom. Crabgrass is licensed under the AGPL license. It's open source by definition. But as my colleague Mike Anderson points out, there's a large difference between a project that simply releases its code under open source license and one that actively sets up and fosters a community process for opening the development process itself. For crabgrass to thrive, it will need an active and open development community. Riseup is dedicated to nurturing this community in both technical ways and by developing good project governance, processes, and procedures. Finally, I'd like to give a real warm thanks to all the people at UNICEF and the Innovations Unit. It's been a total pleasure working with them. It's been an excellent collaboration, and I look forward to more in the future. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Daniel.